Hello, everyone, and it's such an honor to have Professor Joachim Frank here with us today, who's the 2017 Nobel Laureate in Chemistry. Professor Frank, thank you so much for being with us in this episode of Rising Stars.
Hi, Alan. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us. And the goal of these episodes really is to spotlight amazing individuals such as yourself who made amazing contributions to science, to medicine, and to learn as much as possible from you. So I want to start with one of the probably earliest questions a young researcher may ask, him or herself, and that is. Even if they're from a country where resources may not be abundant, maybe they're from maybe they don't have world-class labs or they don't have world-class equipment. What do you say to these young researchers who have deep curiosity, deep passion for science, but maybe don't have immediate access to world-class resources?
Well, it's really it's a very difficult question. I think someone who's just starting should really look out for a very immediate access to a place that might accommodate certain ideas that he or she has, and very often you're just thrown into the world by academia, and you don't know exactly what you might want to do, and then you can inform yourself about what a place is already doing, and it is very often a very good idea to talk to people who are already in the lab to find out whether they are thriving, whether their ideas are really taken serious. So I think this is a good idea to explore it a little bit through friends of friends and so forth.
Yeah, exactly. I think, yeah, I fully agree. Just being a young researcher, that just exploring the world, seeing what's available and talking to people can open so many doors. And for young scientists, it's super important to stay motivated even in the faces of unpredictability, challenges, or when experiments fail, which is, I feel like, more often than when they succeed.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
and what's your advice for these young people to stay motivated despite all of these challenges?
Well, staying motivated in the face of adversity is is a very difficult thing, and you need some emotional support that is probably outside of science. You have family, you have a girlfriend, you have a spouse, these kinds of things. You're a very good friend who sticks with you and is open to conversations. And yeah, I mean, this is I found this very important to keep going
Hmm.
through times when I didn't get the returns, and I'm a very impatient guy. I have an idea, I'm trying to realize it, and then if it doesn't work, then I get very frustrated. And so for me, it was very important to have this kind of emotional backup.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely attest to that. Having, family, friends behind me when times get tough, such as today, and we can touch upon that, is super, super important. And, regarding the, today's situation, regarding the funding, the research environment in the US, can you maybe give us a few comments, how you view the situation and maybe the future, kind of where you think it's going to go?
Well, it's completely chaotic. My advice is to stay away from the United States. It's really it's a place of an uncertain future, and it is even a dangerous place for some people who are coming here. So my advice is look for other opportunities. This is an this is not a very friendly environment right now, and the science funding is on its way down.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely across the United States, that's happening. And for people who are in maybe their early to mid stage career, or maybe even early stage career, they need to develop certain skills in order to, have an increased chance of success in academia, or maybe a specific mindset. So, what do you think are the skills or mindset necessary for younger people to increase their chances of a successful career in research?
Um, well, they should. I think it's very important that they make use of academic freedom and speak out when they see a situation in which science cannot thrive. They should be able to stand up to their mentor if things are going wrong. So it really, my advice is not to be opportunistic, but rather be very clear spoken and stand up for what you believe in.
Yeah.
And this is exactly an advice that can get people into peril right now in the United States. And so my advice is, don't get yourself in a situation where you cannot even speak up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, especially for younger people, it may be difficult to speak up, especially in certain countries, to speak up to mentors because of the situation you mentioned. And speaking of advice that you gave, what's the best advice you got from someone that you really applied, whether it's personal or professional advice?
Um, um, I don't know. I mean, I never received advice about strategy. It was more, uh, I got either support or lack of it about certain ideas that I had. But I sort of made my own intuitive decisions on what to do and where to go and so forth. And in one case, it was concerning the initial of about single particle averaging and reconstruction. It was really important that I did not follow the advice of my mentor and did my own thing. I can even credit my mentor for uh, presenting an idea that is unworkable because it allowed me to be more precise in formulating my own ideas.
Yeah, you definitely touched on a very important point there, that not every advice from a senior person should be, taken as granted, right? Sometimes you should, somebody told me that sometimes you really need to go, as you kind of alluded to, in the opposite direction almost.
Yeah.
And I've had, and you've had obviously various advice during your career. And finally, Professor Frank, just a couple of last questions. If we try to look into the future of science in general, not specifically the US, where do you think science, specifically yours, your field in cryo-electron microscopy, is going in the next, let's say, 5, 10, or 15 years?
Well, as you might know, I've invested after I got my Nobel Prize. In fact, even already a few years before, I have invested in the development of technology that makes it possible to follow molecular reactions, biomolecular reactions in real time by cryo-EM. So it's so-called time-resolved techniques. And lately we've been very successful with this, and I think there's a future. And I do think that with enough commercial backing, it should be possible to have devices like this in every structural biologist's lab. So the future is really in looking more at conformational changes, because they are the key to find out how drugs actually bind. They don't bind to a static entity. They look for opportunities essentially to insert themselves into a dynamically changing structure. So this is my idea about the future development. Of course, there are other directions that have been formulated, but that's what I'm most excited.
The last question for you really is about open access science. And many young researchers are maybe not aware how important, or maybe not important in your view, open access is. Should they pay for open access? Should they not pay for open access? What's your view in general about open access science, making it available to everyone, in every country, in every institution, regardless of funds?
Yes.
So,
Yes,
yeah.
I'm very much promoting the idea of open access. And it's a shame if I look at my own record of publication to see that some key papers are not open access, and it's even difficult for me to get into. So it's an untenable situation, and then the profit making by some of the publishers that they are acting in not in good faith is really terrible. So I don't have an immediate recipe for it, but we have to look for at the success of the preprint servers, and there has been an entire change in the thinking of the entire community, more toward the model that existed in the realm of physics and computer science and so forth for a long time. So there has been sort of a gradual thinking, but change in thinking. But what is absolutely necessary, and everybody agrees on this, is to have the blessing of experts who are really looking at the entirety of the paper, and essentially, they vouch for the contents after some revision, or don't vouch for it. So we have to rely on experts.
Yeah, definitely. And ending up with relying on experts, I think that's a great kind of phrase to end. Professor Frank, thank you so much for joining me. And it's a great chat as usual with you. Thank you so much.
Okay. All right. Thank you.